Hello, everyone. This is the Insert Title Show, and I am your host, Wolf Strife. On this episode, I'm going to be talking about stilettos. About 2 or 3 years ago, I bought two stilettos from Atlantic Cutlery Corp, and I have to say, these are really, really cool. I guess daggers. I want to call them knives, but I guess they're really daggers. But yeah, they're just really, really freaking cool. I love the design and just how they look. I mean, they're beautiful. They're works of art, pretty much. And I really love the triangular shaped blade. I've always kind of had a thing for that. I don't know why. Maybe because it kind of reminds me of the socket bayonets from the Civil War. And the Civil War was my first love in military history. So I guess anything that reminds me of the American Civil War kind of kind of has a place in my heart. But stilettos are just really cool looking and very effective weapons. Basically, there are a lot of knives nowadays, like the last 100 years or so, that are called stilettos, but are really just more like regular knives, I guess. But I am on this episode going to be specifically talking about the stilettos from the Renaissance period, not the stilettos from greaser films and stuff like that from the 1950s. But yeah, I guess I'll start with where the name stiletto comes from. It comes from the Latin word stylus, which was a writing utensil the Romans used to write on wax with. And, I mean, styluses are still around, so, stylus, stiletto, pointy, get it? So the stiletto came out in the 15th century. Seeing how it can really only be used as a stabbing weapon because of the triangular shaped blade, you can't cut anything with it, but you can sure as fuck stab a lot of people with it, and very effectively too. So, seeing how it's just a stabbing weapon, they tend to think that the design, or at least the idea for it, came from other stabbing weapons from the medieval times, like the roundel and the mercy giver. The thing with the roundel, though, and the mercy giver was that those were designed to fight against fully armored knights. Basically, you would take a roundel and try to hit the weak points of the armor, like the armpit, the groin, the eye slit. You're trying to get in through the armpit, into the chest, puncture a lung. And with the groin, you're trying to get up in there and, cut up some arteries and stuff. And naturally, with the eye slit, you're trying to get down into the brain. So, yeah, pretty crazy. But the stiletto was designed mostly to be used against unarmored people, basically just regular civilians. That's why the stiletto was infamously known as the assassin's favorite weapon. I guess you could say this was like the Renaissance hitman's choice of weapon, You could definitely do some damage with this pretty easily, pretty fast, and just, I mean, devastating. I mean, you could stick this blade all the way up to the hilt, twist it around a few times, pull it out, walk away, while the guy's like, oh my God, that hurt, and now I'm dying. Because this blade is so long and so pointy, I mean, it's going to just go through at least an organ or two if you stick them in the torso. And there were entire schools designed for stiletto use. So, I mean, these guys really knew how to use a stiletto. They knew where to attack. They knew, the trick of twisting it, just trying to cause as much damage as you can. And just, these guys knew how to use a stiletto for offensive purposes and defensive purposes. Because it's a strong triangular shaped blade, you can also block pretty well with it too. So, yeah, stilettos are just really freaking cool. And like I said, they are very pretty too. And these daggers were extremely popular in Italy. I mean, when Italian immigrants came to America, they brought this design here with them. So these daggers were pretty much being used all the way up to like the 19th century. So, I mean, yeah, this is a very popular design. And the idea for a stabbing knife or dagger is definitely being incorporated into other knife designs, especially in World War One, like my trench knife. I mean, aside from the knuckle duster, I mean, that's kind of a stiletto blade on there. So, yeah, pretty cool. And it also inspired some other stabbing knives, like the French, not really sure how to pronounce it, Pugnard or Pinard or whatever. So, yeah, this is definitely a very popular, very effective, very beautiful dagger. So if you want to get your hands on one like I did, I'll definitely put a link in the description for. I actually don't think it's Atlantic Cutlery Corp who made my stilettos. I think it's their sister company. Can't even remember what they're called. Museum Quality Knives or something. I don't know. But if you're curious, I'll put a link in the description for you. And I really like my stilettos, and the history and just effectiveness surrounding this dagger is really, really cool. They also have some really nice roundels I want to get. Like they have this black one that's just fucking awesome looking, and they have this really nice brass one too. So hopefully one day I can save up enough and get both of those roundels. But yeah, as far as these stilettos go, these things are freaking cool. So if you want one, go get it.